Hello everyone and welcome to this week's short video tutorial. This will be another brevity from the top 50 selected brevities that was published in the periodical Qiyi back in 2008 or 2009. This will be bot number 37. Red will be Master Jin Bo, and black will be Grandmaster Miao Yongpeng. This match was played in 2002 in China. The venue was Sichuan, and we shall see what went on in the game. So without further ado, central cannon, and in this match, Master Jin Bo chose to play p7+1. Now this is usually not done so early because usually red would develop his chariot as r1 equals to 2 or play the horse. Now p7+1 is one of the older ways of playing this variation, and it would usually mean that red had prepared a certain variation prior to the game. And usually when p7+1 is played, the opponent will counter with a similar move. So thus far, the chariots, red had not developed his chariot. Now in this match, Grandmaster Miao Yongpeng played c2 equals to 5 for the deferred opposite direction cannons. Usually h2+3 or c8 equals to 9 for the three-step tiger is played. Now, an interesting note to mention was that Grandmaster Jin Bo was well known for playing the deferred opposite direction cannons as black. So Grandmaster Miao Yongpeng was trying to. This was a show of strength for both players. So r9 equals to 8, advancing the proper horse, and in this variation, Master Jin Bo played c8 equals to 9. This would be something similar to the left 3 steps tiger, whereby red would try to develop his chariot as a foul chariot. Usually, r1 equals to 2 is played. This was the variation given in the book. Black. This is a common tactical combination when you play the deferred opposite direction cannons, whereby black would try to add a lot of pressure by linking the chariot so early in the game. And black will still have a playable game. So this is one commonly seen variation. Now in the match, c8 equals to 9 was played, and black countered with e3+1. Now this would be a interesting move, but usually r1+1 is played because it was fairly obvious by playing e3+1 that black was about to develop his chariot as a kingside chariot. So this would allow the enemy to prepare way beforehand to counteract. And e3+1 would actually weaken the central file because now there will be one less elephant protecting the cannon, and black would have issues trying to link the elephants up later on should the need arise. So r1+1 is advocated, and black will still be able to hold his own. Perhaps black was afraid of r8+5 and played e3+1 as a prophylactic move, such that if black tried to play r8+5, red tried to play r8+5, black could counter with p3+1. However, this would, as mentioned earlier, not be a good idea. Red continued by developing his right chariot as a rank chariot, kingside chariot. So both colors would have a chariot that would have commanded one of the rib files. Now in the match, perhaps red was wary of black playing the opposite direction cannons, and he chose to play r4+3. And red continued with r4+3 to patrol the riverbank with his chariot. However, it was suggested that red had been overly cautious. Now I ran this position through my computer and found that at this point in time, red would enjoy a slight advantage of about 80 to 90 points, at level 20 plus on my computer analysis program. Now, this is considered to be okay. Black will still have a very playable game. However, in the book, r4 plus 5 was suggested. Now, if r4 plus 5 were played, these were the moves given. Red will be attacking very aggressively, linking the chariots and preparing for c8 equals to 5. Trading the chariots. Now, it will appear that Black would now have a winning position, threatening to checkmate with r6 plus 2. However, although Red had sacrificed a piece, he was now ready to go for the checkmate. Now, the horse can deliver a checkmate with h5 plus 4 or h5 plus 6, but h5 plus 4 was protected by the cannon, and h5 plus 6 was defended by the black horse. So Red could make a very brilliant move by offering to sacrifice his chariot, threatening to capture the cannon. Now this would effectively allow Red to threaten to checkmate with h5 plus 4 immediately. If the horse captured the Red chariot, Red would play, for example, checkmate. So that is why this was a very brilliant move. And Black would be forced to move his chariot to guard this point, but he will lose his chariot in the process, and this would again be a winning position for Red. So this position was actually reached in a match that was split in 2000. Red was Grandmaster Wan Chunling, who defeated Master Jin Song. And perhaps it was because of this match that Master Jin Song played in 2000 that he was wary and decided to play r4 plus 3 instead. So as the match went on, Black countered with c8 plus 3. Again, this move was a questionable move. It was not efficient because the main idea was to guard the cross riverbank rank and prevent Red from developing the horse. However, r4 plus 8 would have been a much better move because this chariot would have been able to create more trouble, and if possible, it could traverse to this flank and allow Black to initiate an attack targeting this flank. Now, Black started consolidating his defense, and by this time Red had quietly consolidated his defense and there were no major weaknesses on the board. Actually, this was also part of Red's plan to wait for the black chariot to patrol the river, and the chariot at this point did not have any good place to move, and perhaps this was the optimal position in this situation for it to move. However, because it moved to the chariot, Red would start his attack with this very ingenious move. So it was a very creative attack. Now, Black did not move. Now in the match, Black defended by retreating his chariot. Now this would be a waste of a one move initiative. There were no variations given, but I was wondering what would happen if Black had played r4 equals to 2 and ran it through my analysis program. Now it will appear that this was a very bad move because Black would be prepared to sacrifice his pawn, forcing the cannon to chariot away, and Red would capture the edge pawn, forcing a trade of material. And at this point in time, we can see that the red chariot and the red cannon were now prepared to storm this flank, which was almost empty and devoid of any defensive material. So by this point in time, at level 26, red would have amassed a advantage of almost 470 or 500 points in certain variations. So this was why black cannot play h4 equals to 2. So back to the game. Because black had retreated the chariot, it was red's for the taking. So red started to attack very aggressively, and black tried to gain some space and develop his horses by attempting an attack from the central file, capturing the pawn, attacking from the central file, sacrificing, or this would be a pseudo sacrifice. Black would capture the central pawn to deliver a check, and red defended with e7 plus 5. Red cannot capture the offending cannon because black could immediately play h7 plus 5, forcing the chariot away, forcing the chariot away again, and this will be a check. And as can be seen, the black horse was now ready to go for the elbow horse checkmate and also threatened to capture the red chariot. Red would have to lose his chariot to try to defend against this checkmate with probably h4 plus h7 equals to 6, or retreating the cannon to prevent the black horse from attempting the elbow horse checkmate. So red would black would gain a winning position. So that was why red could not capture the offending central cannon. And it would seem that black would have an attack going on after he linked his horses, but red countered slowly and accurately with r4 plus 2. In the mid-game phase, black was forced to retreat the elephant. Now the main reason for this was because red was prepared to play h7 plus 9 to trade material. If h7 plus 9, the cannon would capture the elephant, but black would lose his horse as compensation, and red would have gained some material in the process. So again, the moving e3 plus 1 for the 6 ply over here, e3 plus 1 would be a very questionable move. So as can be seen, this was in the 6 ply, but by the 16 ply it was forced to move back, and it would have done nothing in the process. So in the analysis, moving the elephant to the h file was deemed as the main reason as to why black lost. Now, because the elephant had moved back, red continued with a very nice move of c9 equals to 8, threatening to storm this right flank. Another use of this move would be to play c8 plus 4, whereby red would attack the chariot and also the horse in the same file, in the same rank, and red would have gained a significant advantage by this point in time. Indeed, red would have amassed an advantage of almost 600 points by this when the cannon was playing. Black was forced to move away to prevent a skewer, and red chose to attack and storm the flank as mentioned earlier. Now in the match, black was forced to play black played e3 plus 1, and this led to a very quick loss for black, because black was not willing to lose material. If he had played h5 minus 4, h5 minus 4 would be the advocated move, if he had captured the horse, black would be attacking, and black could also play red could also play r4 equals to 5, threatening to gain more material. So that was why black was reluctant to capture the red cannon. Okay, the advocated move was a5 minus 4, and black would have not lost so fast. So FMS4 would have been better, and h3 minus 2 would have been a huge mistake. So unfortunately, in the match, red moved his elephant a third time, and this allowed red free access to the bottom rank, whereby the chariot and cannon will now be terrorizing the black king. This will mark the beginning of the end. Black tried to advance his chariot, hoping to trade chariots probably to release some pressure, but it was too late. Black could play h8 plus 9. Black was forced to defend in this manner, because if, let's say, he retreated his horse, check, and red will lose black will lose his chariot and also the game. So h4 minus 6 was played because black would try to have some compensation. If the cannon captured the chariot, the horse would capture the chariot. So black was hoping that he could have not lost so much in the process. But red played very brilliantly, choosing to capture the horse. And once the central black horse was captured, black's attack was basically diffused. Threatening. And red was not in a hurry to capture the chariot, but instead he chose to play h7 plus 9, threatening to go for the elbow horse attack. And this would force black to defend in this manner. So if the elbow horse attack were to be played, black could retreat the cannon. But again, red kept on pounding on black's backyard. Now if red went for the elbow horse attack, black would retreat his cannon. The chariot would be able to capture the cannon for the win. So that was why black decided to play h4 equals to 2 to block and prevent the elbow horse attack from coming to fruition. But red will simply capture the horse and still threaten to capture the black chariot. And finally, red played another move, c7 equals to 6, hoping to use the cannon to capture the chariot instead and still maintain an attack. So by this time, red would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, black would only have 4, and he was about to lose the night chariot. So that was why Grandmaster Miao Yongpeng decided to call it a day and resign. So as can be seen, I personally think that this is one of the textbook games that demonstrate why it would not be a good idea to move the elephant or some other defensive pieces too early in the game, because red could counter, the enemy could counter very precisely and cause a lot of trouble. So in this game, a short recap would be, so far so good. At this point in time, the basic formation was defined, the deferred opposite direction cannons, and this was the move that was very controversial. And judging from the way the game went, this move did not do anything constructive and actually weakened black's formation generally. An overly cautious move, but black countered with a very questionable move that did not do anything very constructive. And black started to attack with h7 plus 8, forcing black to retreat and try to guard his pawn rank while attempting to master an attack with the central link horses. Red chose to dislodge his cannon from the central file and switch formations. And black started attacking, trying to attack the central file, but red was simply overwhelming. Check. Red was placed in a dilemma. He could not capture the cannon or he would lose more material. And this was perhaps another very fatal move. And from here on, it was Red's for the taking. See, Red would have completely destroyed any defense over here, while still threatening to gain material, which led to the eventual resignation of Black. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. If you like the work that I've been doing, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.